Hello everyone, FPL Raptor here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. In today's video we have my Game Week 37 team selection, the final double game week of the season, and there are only 2 game weeks left now. If you're enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Before we jump into looking at my team for Game Week 37, I just want to give a massive shout out to Surfshark as they have sponsored today's video. Surfshark is an online VPN service which allows you to stay safe online but also access content from over 100 different countries across the world. All you need to do is switch your virtual location to the country's content that you would like to see and boom, immediately with one click of a button you can access all of the content that they can in that country. This is incredibly useful for watching different football matches in different countries where potentially the game is not televised. And the amazing thing about this is once you sign up you can actually access this across all of your different devices, whether that be your phone, laptop or computer. Once you sign up you can have it across all of those different devices, and this doesn't just go for video content either. You can also access different online articles that potentially aren't available in your country too. Not only are Surfshark sponsoring today's video, but they're also offering anyone watching this an extra 3 months for free once you sign up using the link in the description or use the code FPL Raptor. That is 3 further months for free of staying safe online and accessing all the content you could possibly want from around the world. It massively helps to support the channel, but it is also an awesome product that I've been using myself for over 6 months now. So use the link in the description or use the code FPL Raptor. Massive shout out to Surfshark for sponsoring the video. Let's now look at my team for Game Week 37. So before we look at my team for Game Week 37, a very quick review of Game Week 36. I actually scored 100 points for the 4th or 5th time this season, which is absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, Callum Wilson ruined it for me. So before that mega haul in the last few seconds from Callum Wilson, I was on a green arrow and I was almost into the top 5k. Then he gets a goal and assist in the space of a minute. Let me know down below, how many points did you score in Game Week 36? And also, did you own and captain Callum Wilson? Because if you did, you are absolutely laughing. And it could have been the difference between like a massive green and a red arrow. Because Callum Wilson coming away with 48 points if you captained him is absolutely ridiculous. We spoke about a lot, was it worth selling Botman and then bringing Wilson in, going from double Newcastle defence to the attack? I obviously knew the upside that Callum Wilson had, but I was never expecting 4 attacking returns from him and for him to start both games. So I called that one wrong. A lot of people did, but well done if you went there. My team actually did very well though. Trent, Trippier and Estepinian coming through. Raya did get a clean sheet. Somehow Ederson outscored him, only making 2 saves. He actually got 2 bonus points. I hate Ederson. Ederson is such a troll. Whenever I start him, he gets me nothing. On the bench, he always seems to get me points. I've been terrible with the goalkeepers this season, but at least Raya still got me 7 points. The midfield was a bit of a mixed bag. Matoma and McAllister very disappointing, but Salah pulling through once again. Salah and Trent are just doing really well, and I'm so happy that about 5 or 6 weeks ago now, I decided to bring in Trent, and then I was very quick to bring in Salah as well, because we know how good their data is. Liverpool just haven't necessarily been converting data into actual performance and FPL points, but Trent and Salah have been very good recently, and I'm very happy to have them for the final 2 game weeks as well. Isak and Haaland both got 7 points apiece. I, of course, captained Isak. Callum Wilson was the much better captaincy option in the end, but it is what it is. And then Grealish, 1 point. Rashford didn't feature, and then Greenwood, 1.2. So I'm obviously very happy to get 100 points. I'm also very happy to not get a massive red arrow. It's just disappointing because, like I say, I was ranked about 5.4k before that final goal and assist from Wilson in the dying minute. So well done if you captained and owned him. I didn't, unfortunately, so it's a small red arrow. Let's now take a look at my team for the final double game week of the season. So moving into Game Week 37, I've got 2 free transfers and 3.9 million in the bank. So I need to use at least one, and I have the money in the bank to be pretty flexible with my transfers. So when you've seen the entirety of the team, let me know down below in the comments, what would you do with my team? To be honest, I could get away with not making a transfer in 37 or 38. We've set up our team so well, if you've been planning ahead, that your team probably looks very good for 37 with lots of doublers. In Game Week 38, a lot of the teams that do well in 37 have a decent fixture too. But it does mean that with those final 3 free transfers that I have across the final 2 weeks, I can actually be a little bit more aggressive and maybe switch from one doubler to another. And maybe in that final Game Week 38, if I really do want to push on, then I can take a bit of a risk there. So starting with the goalkeepers, it's pretty easy for me this week. I know there's a chance Ederson doesn't play both. Ortega could come in for one, even potentially, I guess, Scott Carson could, if he's still around and can play. Pep's done that in the past. It looks like City have the league wrapped up, so I wouldn't be shocked to see Ederson benched in one, but I would still predict him to start both. And it's not like Raya's got a fantastic fixture. I know Spurs haven't been brilliant, but I still don't think that Tottenham away is a fixture that I want to play Raya in. So this one's a pretty easy decision for me. It is Ederson. I have looked at the possibility, because at the moment I only have 2 Manchester United assets. I have looked at the possibility of Ederson to De Gea. I just think, like I said, I've got 3 free transfers for the remainder of the season. I would much rather be aggressive with those and bring in a high upside attacker that can do something similar to what we saw Callum Wilson do. And that's what attackers can do in double game weeks. So I feel like Ederson to De Gea isn't a bad move. It just feels a little bit passive. And I feel like there might be a better opportunity to attack the upside with some of the attackers. So I'm happy with Ederson this week. I probably will not be owning him next season unless something drastically changes with Man City. The defense I'm also very, very happy with. As you can see on the bench at the moment, I've got double Newcastle defense. They are still conceding chances. Now, I don't necessarily think they're as bad as the goals conceded would suggest. They're actually still in the top 3 or 4 defenses in the league post-World Cup. Even across the last 6 or 7 weeks, they are still a very, very good defense. They're just conceding like 1 goal here and there in a lot of the games. So I wouldn't mind playing Trippier or Botman this week. It's just that the other 3 are really good. So I've got Trent against Villa. He's obviously the only other single game week defender. I could play Trippier ahead of Trent, and I would love to know down below in the comments what you think on that one. I would argue Trippier's got the slightly better fixture. Newcastle are potentially the slightly better defence, but Trent has just been so attacking recently, and there has actually been an improvement in Liverpool's defensive data. If you couple that with the fact that Liverpool are a significantly better defence at home as well, I actually quite fancy Trent against Villa, and I feel like he could get an attacking return or a clean sheet there. So at the moment, I'm just favouring Trent to a Newcastle defender. I've got Luke Shaw against Bournemouth and Chelsea. I do think these are 2 very good fixtures for Manchester United, but I think maybe slightly more so from an attacking perspective. I do think that Chelsea are struggling, and I do think that there are times when Bournemouth struggle too, but I wouldn't necessarily be expecting 2 clean sheets from Shaw here. Hopefully he stays at left back because he's still good for bonus points at left back, but of course he has a lot more attacking threat too. So I'm happy having Luke Shaw this week. I'm not necessarily expecting too much from him from a clean sheet perspective though. And then I've got Estepinian, and I suppose it's a similar story with Estepinian that I wouldn't be surprised to get no clean sheets here, but we did see in Game Week 36 what he's capable of. I wouldn't expect that every week, but Southampton at home, of course, they've been relegated now. That is an excellent fixture for Estepinian. There is still the chance for Brighton of European football as well, so I expect them to go absolutely full strength against Southampton. And then Man City, anything against Man City is a bonus, but that one fixture against Southampton is so good anyway, I'm not too fussed what happens in the second one. So I am really happy with the defense. I can't see myself making a transfer in the defense this week because I really like my starting 3. I like my Newcastle double defense if I need them. The only way that I'll probably make a defensive transfer this week is if I want to get some more funds. I suppose I could do Trippier all the way down to a cheaper defender because Newcastle have Chelsea in Game Week 38, which isn't the best fixture. It's not terrible, of course, but it's not the best fixture. And I'm not playing Trippier this week at the moment anyway. So there's a chance that I do that to get me some funds. But otherwise, the defence and the goalkeeper situation, I'm pretty happy with. Let's move on to the 5-man midfield. So moving on to the 5-man midfield, we'll start with the double Brighton midfield. And unfortunately, the 3 Brighton midfielders, March, Matoma, McAllister, have been very disappointing in recent weeks. But we can't expect too much. They are so incredibly cheap. And post-World Cup, the Brighton assets have been absolutely brilliant for us. So I'm not going to complain. But yeah, they haven't been brilliant. And Matoma in particular has been very disappointing. He's been struggling to convert any of his chances. And we spoke about in recent weeks, there has been an improvement in his data over the last 6 or 7 in comparison to the previous period before that. But he's actually converting nothing at the moment. So before that, he had really poor data, but was converting everything. Now he's actually had a bit of an improvement in data, but he's converting nothing. And it is a little bit worrying. And I do feel like that De Zerbi is trying to rotate as much as possible, especially in the attack, just because of how fatigued Brighton look. And Matoma looked really, really poor, in my opinion, against Newcastle. So I feel like there is a small or reasonable chance that if Matoma is to be rested in one of the final 3 Premier League games, it probably is against Southampton. So I've got a slight worry that Matoma misses the Saints game and then plays against Manchester City. I've got no real reason for that other than just, like I said, De Zerbi is rotating, and I don't think Matoma looked quite at it in Game Week 36. So there's a slight worry there. I probably won't sell him just in case he does play the Southampton game, and because it's a double, and I feel like there are better transfers that I can make elsewhere. But if I had enough money to do Matoma to Fernandes in one move, I would be very, very tempted to do so because the final 3 fixtures for Man United, I think, are better than for Brighton. And also, Bruno is on penalties with much better data. And you know he's going to get probably 270 minutes across the final 3. So Matoma probably stays for now, just due to there being no other players that I really want to move to. McAllister, I do think will be fine for the Southampton game because he was benched against Newcastle. So I feel like if it is just a little bit of rotation that we're seeing, McAllister should be fine to start against Southampton. Hopefully in a slightly attacking role, but I don't really see it. It'll probably be in that number 6 role again, or the number 8 role, I suppose, where he gets forward a little bit, but he is largely defensive and probably quite reliant on an attacking return from a set piece or from a penalty. So I'm okay with my double Brighton midfield, but I'm not expecting much from them. I'm just hoping that both start against Southampton and can get something in that game, because the Man City game, like I said with Estepinian, it really is just a bonus game. I'm not expecting a massive amount from them there. I've got Jack Grealish in the centre of that midfield. Jack Grealish is a tricky one, because if he started both of these, I'd love to have him, because I feel like despite the fact that City have almost wrapped up the league, I would expect them to score goals against Chelsea and Brighton, and Grealish's data isn't that bad. That being said, his goal threat has never been fantastic. His XG data is not the best, and I don't expect him to start both games. Regardless of whether you think Pep is going to go for rhythm, whether you feel like he's going to start resting some of his key players, I can't see Grealish starting both, especially when Foden is fit and playing fairly well. So I feel like probably Grealish starts one, Foden starts one, Mahrez starts 1 or 2 on the right. I feel like if out of those 3, who's most likely to start both, it probably is Mahrez. But then we know that they can play Alvarez and KDB and Haaland together, in which case maybe Mahrez misses out, or they can play Bernardo Silva on the right. So I don't feel like any of the Man City attackers, maybe even Haaland, are definitely going to start both of these games. And I do have enough money to do Grealish to Bruno Fernandes. I've got a third Man United spot free, and I've got enough in the bank to do Grealish to Bruno. So at the moment, that feels like a fairly straightforward transfer for me, just because of the data as well. Bruno is sitting at around a 0.8, 0.9 expected goal involvement post-World Cup. Grealish is sitting at about a 0.6 expected goal involvement post-World Cup. Neither of them have great goal threat, but Bruno Fernandes' creativity is off the charts, and he's on set pieces, and he's on penalties too. And like I said, I know for a fact that Bruno's going to start all 3 of the remaining games. I don't know that with Grealish. I wouldn't be surprised to only see him start 1. So at the moment, Grealish to Bruno with one of my free transfers feels like a relatively straightforward move. The thing that then opens up is I then have a third City spot free, and I've still got a second free transfer to use. So I need to think about that. Marcus Rashford is back in full training, which is fantastic for Manchester United. I'm a United fan, but also for our FPL teams. It means that he is a decent captaincy shout if you think he's good to start the Bournemouth game, because it is a really, really nice double for Man United. And like I said, Haaland isn't definitely going to start both. So if you're chasing in your mini leagues, let's say, I don't know, 20 plus points or more away from first or second or wherever you're trying to get to, and you feel like there is a good chance that Haaland doesn't start both, and we get confirmation that Rashford is fit, I don't mind Rashford as a captaincy shout. And to be honest, he's the only other person that I will be considering in my team, unless I bring in Bruno, and then I think Bruno is equally good of a captaincy shout as Rashford. But I just do like the 2 fixtures against Bournemouth and Chelsea from an attacking perspective. The 5th and final midfielder is Mohamed Salah. I know a lot of people this week are looking at doing Salah to Bruno. I don't dislike it, because I do love Bruno as an option. I just wonder, is there another way you can get to Bruno? Because while Salah doesn't have a double, 2 decent fixtures to finish the season, Salah looks really good again at the moment. He's data strong, he's still on penalties, and Liverpool are gunning for a top 4 finish. At home against Villa, I don't think is as bad as it potentially looks on paper. And I just really, really like the look of Salah for the final 2. So I don't hate selling him to get Bruno Fernandes in, but for me, I would look to try and do it a different way as I am. Maybe having to make one more downgrade, maybe switch one of your strikers to a dead spot and then upgrade Grealish. I feel like that's probably a slightly better way to do it. Don't be completely blinded by the doubles. I think Salah's a better option than Grealish for the final 2 game weeks, in my personal opinion. So I'm not looking at selling Salah. Let me know down below in the comments, are you looking at doing the Salah to Bruno move? And if so, is there any other way you can potentially get to Bruno in your teams? Let's move on to the 2 forwards and then discuss all of my transfer plans together. So as you can see, at the moment, Haaland does have the armband for me. I don't hate a captaincy on Rashford or Bruno, especially if we have good reason to think that Haaland could be rested against either Chelsea or Brighton. But I just don't think we're going to get confirmation pre-deadline. And for me, my end rank that I want to finish with is inside the top 10k. At the moment, I'm about 2 or 3 points inside. I know by the end of Game Week 37, I could have fallen outside of that, but I don't need to be overly aggressive with my captaincy. I've got a couple of differentials in my team. The rest of my team I'm happy with. I don't think I'll fall too far back, even if I have a real stinker in Game Week 37. And I don't really care about pushing massively higher, because I'm way, way, way off the top 1k. And I'm still about, I don't know, 10, 12 points off the top 5k. So for me, I kind of just want to stay where I am with my rank. So it is a bit of a defensive move. I just need to see something which really convinces me to go against Haaland at this stage just because of his ownership. And like I said, throughout the season, I don't usually look at ownership massively. I think you should try and get the most points you possibly can. But with only 2 weeks left now, you need to look at, are you happy with where you are? And if you are, don't take unnecessary risks. And for me, captaining someone other than Haaland is an unnecessary risk because if he starts both, he is by far and away the best captaincy shout. Of course he is. Regardless of the fixtures, he's always the best captaincy shout in a double game week if he starts both. So that's my opinion on it. I won't be captaining anyone else unless I get some definitive information. And then the 11th player in the starting 11 at the moment is Isak. Now, if I don't make any transfers other than maybe something like a Grealish to Bruno, I do have the debate between do I start Isak or Trippier. I'll be honest, at the moment, it's probably Trippier. The reason I say that is Trippier's attacking data is really good. He has the chance for a clean sheet. And I actually think Callum Wilson could start again. And if he does, Isak on the left just isn't as great of an option. That being said, Callum Wilson has played quite a few minutes recently. He is a little bit injury prone, as we know. And maybe Howe won't want to risk it. I think Newcastle only need one more win from their final two to guarantee Champions League football. They might not even need that depending on other results. So maybe they don't need to risk Wilson from the start in this game, or maybe they do and they give him 60 minutes. But I just feel like there's the slight worry with Isak that if he plays on the left, he's not as great of an option. So if I only did the Grealish to Bruno move, it would probably switch to a 4-5-1 and I'd play Trippier ahead of Isak. However, as I said, if I do the Grealish to Bruno move, it actually opens up a third Man City slot. And I'm looking at that and thinking, could I do Isak to Alvarez? Now, I don't expect Alvarez to start both, but I do expect him to start at least one. And I feel like if he starts one, gets 70, 80 minutes, and gets 20, 30 minutes in the other, and then potentially could start in game week 38, that feels like a pretty fun punt to take. And we've seen Alvarez can do damage off the bench. So I'm looking at this and thinking, Grealish to Bruno, Isak to Alvarez. Yes, that uses both my free transfers, but I don't necessarily need my free transfers in game week 38. And I feel like I could attack the final double game week and bring in a third Man City asset when I'm taking Grealish out. So at the moment, that's my probable plans. Is Grealish to Bruno is the almost definite transfer, unless I have a reason to doubt that. And then I've got the option for another free transfer to do Isak to Alvarez. I would love to know down below in the comments, if you had this team, would you just stop at Grealish to Bruno, roll the second free transfer, and go into game week 38 with 2 free transfers? Or would you also do the Isak to Alvarez move, meaning you only have 1 free transfer in game week 38? Or would you do something completely different? Look at my team, let me know what you would do. In the final section, it'll only be a short one. I'm just going to go through what those transfers would make the team look like for 37, and then talk about possible 1-week punts in game week 38. So guys, if I do make those 2 moves, Bruno in for Grealish and then Isak to Alvarez, this is the way the team would look for game week 37. Of course, if I don't make the move, like I said, at the moment, I am planning on playing Trippier ahead of Isak. So I just need to think, do I think that Alvarez will significantly outscore Trippier/Isak in 37? And do I feel like having 2 free transfers in 38 will be more valuable than using both of them in 37? So these are the things I'm thinking about. But at the moment, Fernandes in for Grealish feels fairly likely because I just want Bruno Fernandes in my team. Excellent data, passing the eye test. I think a haul is going to come very, very soon for him. In 38, as you can see, the team's absolutely fine. Like, I don't need a transfer in 38, which is why I feel like having 2 transfers in 38, yes, it allows you to take some fun punts, but I don't necessarily feel like I'll need that. Unless I have an absolutely shocking game week 37, I shouldn't need to take too many risks in 38. So I look at this team and think, I don't really need tons of transfers. The reason I also like doing the Alvarez move is because if I do think he'll start in 38, that gives me 2.4 million in the bank to maybe do one of McAllister or Matoma to anyone up to 7.9. So I don't think I can quite afford it, actually, Bowen. He's at 8. But it's someone like a Jared Bowen, you know, just a random fun punt that potentially you might not have considered and you wouldn't necessarily want to own for anything more than 1 week. The great thing about game week 38, if you're new to the game and you haven't played, all of the fixtures are played at exactly the same time, which means that we do get quite a bit sometimes of early pre-deadline team news. And it could be that we get a random player starting. You just think, do you know what? I want to take one fun punt in my team in game week 38. And I don't mind doing that for something, like I said, McAllister to someone else in that spot. So that's the current plan at the moment, is to to use both in 37, to get Bruno, to get Alvarez. I like it. I'm getting 4 fixtures there. And then in 38, I'll have 1 free transfer to either do McAllister or Matoma to a cheeky midfield punt, and we'll discuss all of that in the final week of content. Or Alvarez, I could then sell again to anyone up to 8.4. So it could even be that I do something like Alvarez to Gabriel Jesus if we know that he's going to start. I've got plenty of options, and I just don't feel like I need at the moment 2 free transfers for Game Week 38. So that's the current plan. Let me know what you think of that down below, and also let me know what your current plan is for Game Week 37 too. So guys, there you have it. That is my Game Week 37 team selection. I just wanted to say a massive thank you for all of the support on the 2 Stormzy videos that we did earlier on in this week. If you've not yet seen them, please do go and watch them. Also, make sure to follow my Instagram as well. I'll just put it over here. There's loads of behind the scenes content, including reels, stories, pictures as well. So if you're more interested in finding out more about the filming with Stormzy and you want to see some more behind the scenes content from my life, but also this recording as well, please do go check out the Instagram at FPL__Raptor. There will also be a link down below in the description. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.